Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the mechanics of the human mind, and we're going to uncover some incredibly powerful spiritual truths along the way. If you've ever felt like you're fighting the exact same internal battles over and over again, trust me, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to completely unpack the root causes of our struggles and discover how to find genuine, lasting healing from within. Now, before we really get to the core of our analysis, I want to clearly and responsibly state what this explainer is and what it isn't. We are absolutely going to have an honest, compassionate discussion about mindset, spiritual principles, and deep transformational change. But this is a spiritual journey. It is not a replacement for professional medical care or advice. If you're currently receiving medical treatment or professional help, please don't stop or ignore that care. Our focus today is on the spiritual principle that wrong thinking creates destructive patterns, and renewed thinking opens the door to profound transformation. So, here's a pretty heavy question for you. Why do our most destructive emotional patterns keep coming back? Seriously, we've all been there. You know how it is. You think you've finally beaten a certain fear, or you've moved past a specific trigger that causes anxiety, or maybe a deep-seated feeling of bitterness. But then, seemingly out of nowhere, it just rushes right back. It can feel incredibly defeating. So why do we constantly get stuck in these destructive emotional cycles? Well, today, we are going to visually map out exactly why this happens, and far more importantly, how to actually stop it. Okay, let's dive into this. To uncover the answer, we're taking a 5-step journey today. First step, symptoms versus root causes. Second, mechanics of the mind. Third, overwriting the hard drive. Fourth, knowledge and spiritual transformation. And finally, your path to renewal. Section 1. Symptoms versus root causes. Beneath the surface. You know, what we actually see on the surface of our lives is rarely the whole story. The core of our problem is really divided into two parts. On one side, you have surface symptoms. This is the fear, the heavy stress, the anxiety, the depression, those sudden flashes of anger. And look, these are incredibly real, and they deeply affect a person's everyday life. But on the other side, hiding underneath, you have the root causes. These are your destructive thinking patterns and hidden beliefs. The absolute danger here is that we end up spending our entire lives frantically treating the symptoms while completely ignoring the roots. If you only treat the symptom, that root is just going to keep growing in the dark. We've got to be willing to finally talk about the root causes, instead of just trying to manage that surface-level pain. Section 2. Mechanics of the mind, how we process thoughts. To figure out how those deep roots are actually formed, let's look analytically at how the human mind processes information. I want you to think of your conscious mind as the guard at the gate. It's such a powerful visual. Your conscious mind is an active gatekeeper. Every single day, thousands of thoughts, opinions, and random pieces of information walk right up to the gate of your mind. The conscious mind's entire job is to evaluate them and decide what gets to pass through. If your guard falls asleep, or if the guard literally doesn't know the difference between a helpful truth and a destructive lie, well, dangerous things are allowed inside. And where do all those thoughts go once the guard actually lets them in? Straight into your subconscious mind, which acts precisely like a computer's hard drive. It's a deeply embedded storage system. And here's the thing, it doesn't judge the information. It simply saves whatever the guard at the gate allowed through. Over time, these saved files become permanent patterns and deeply held beliefs that just run automatically in the background of your life. Let's crack open that hard drive and look exactly at what gets stored inside. It holds your repeated thoughts, the words that have been spoken over you, your memories, your automatic emotional responses, and your absolute core beliefs. This is exactly why wrong thinking produces destructive emotional patterns. If the guard let in thoughts of rejection or unworthiness years ago, well, those got saved to the hard drive. Now, when a stressful situation pops up today, the hard drive automatically boots up those saved emotional responses, producing hatred, bitterness, or severe anxiety. Your entire root system is built out of what is stored right there on this drive. Section 3. Overwriting the hard drive, a paradigmatic shift. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it changes our approach. Here is the absolute game changer. You cannot simply go into your subconscious and hit the delete button. You literally cannot just erase the hard drive. To change the output of your life, you have to actively overwrite old, wrong beliefs with new truth. Think about how a real computer works. To get rid of an old file permanently, you have to save a new file over it. This creates what we call a paradigmatic shift. It's a total top-to-bottom change in your foundational operating system. You are taking that destructive root and replacing it with a healthy one. Section 4. knowledge and spiritual transformation, renewing the mind. So what exactly do we use to overwrite those toxic files? Well, we find our theological grounding right here in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, which points us to transformation through the renewing of the mind. True, lasting transformation doesn't happen just because you're trying harder to behave differently. It starts with this biblical principle of actively renewing the mind. It is a spiritual process of continuously overwriting the lies on your hard drive with the absolute truth of God's word. And this builds perfectly into this central quote from Hosea 4:6, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." Now, that is a sobering thought, but it is incredibly clarifying. A lack of spiritual knowledge literally destroys people. It leaves them completely trapped in cycles of fear and depression because they just don't know how the gate and the hard drive work, and they don't know the truth that can actually set them free. But the flip side is equally true. Kingdom knowledge brings absolute freedom. When you know how to operate the machinery of your mind according to kingdom principles, you literally step out of destruction and right into life. Section 5. Your path to renewal. Practical steps. So the crucial point is applying this directly to your own life today through actionable inner healing. I've got a specific homework assignment for you to begin this process right now. Step 1. Identify one chronic problem in your life. This could be a repeated emotional pattern, a toxic relationship cycle, a persistent fear, or just a recurring reaction you hate having. Step 2. Write down this exact question. What kind of thinking may have helped create or maintain this problem? Be brutally honest with yourself about what roots might be hiding under the surface there. And step 3, write down one truth from God's word that can actively begin overriding and replacing that destructive thinking. This is exactly how you take control back from the hard drive. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Are you going to keep just managing those surface-level symptoms, endlessly fighting the same exhaustion and anxiety? Or are you finally ready to renew the deep root system of your thinking? If today's explainer helped you see the massive difference between symptoms and root causes, I want to invite you to continue this full journey. The Supernatural Power of Right Thinking is an absolutely incredible, complete program designed to help you renew your mind and walk through this transformation step by step. And it is available right now on the Lifesaver platform. Go to kingdomlifesaver.com and get the complete program today. Don't just manage the symptoms. Begin renewing the root system of your thinking.